Talking business with you this morning.
Yes, business, and we're only focusing on one massive story today. In fact, let's take a look at the front page. I'm actually channeling the Mr. Ifeni this morning. Good morning to you, Doctor. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Tundu.
Hey, good morning.
Right at the top there, if you take a look at the, you see that CBN queries First Bank as CEO is purportedly ousted. Says the bank is under, forbearance, liquidity support, and can't remove a helmsman without approval. Also, shareholders weigh their options. Otudeko Odukale, which is of course Oye Hassan Odukale, chair of Leadway Insurance, and of course Adenuga are in battle for control. So it seems like what's been going on with respect to this sudden change at the top of the ladder at First Bank could be a proxy for a boardroom struggle that's going on. So let's start this out. We kick off, of course, with Mr. Benga Shogo. He's the one that, and I broke this on the Global Business Report yesterday at 3 o'clock, the moment I got the news after confirming with sources. So he was appointed, if you take a look at Mr. Benga Shogo, there he is. So he's been at the bank for a little while. He was appointed by the board as the new managing director, effective yesterday, April the 28th. Now, the issue here is this. If we take a look at Dr. Shola Adedutan, Dr. Shola Adedutan has been at the helm of First Bank since 2016. The bank gives 3 terms, right? The central bank allows for a full 10-year tenure. So his first term was from 2016 to 2019, right? 2016 to 2018. 2016, 2017, 2018. He's now in the middle of his second term. Again, this is the current MD CEO, Dr. Shola Adedutan. His current term was from January of 2019 up until December of 2021. So he still had another 8 months to go as the head of the bank. And so all of a sudden, we get this press release yesterday, which wasn't official, though. I have to state this, the press release, it was circulated. I confirmed it. We did our due diligence. That's not the press release. That's from the central bank. But let's keep our attention on Dr. Shola Adedutan for a moment. So he has 8 months to go in his term, and he was suddenly removed. And this announcement was made. So this is what prompted the central bank, because it is subject to regulatory approval. Now, the First Bank did send out a notice. This was late yesterday. It wasn't on the NGX site. This is, of course, referring to the stock exchange. Let's take a look at the notice from the press release from First Bank. They put up a press release. If you take a look at so if you look at the press release, didn't actually show who it was, who the recipient was. That is the recipient of the which is supposed to be the exchange. They're supposed to notify the exchange officially, but there was no recipient on there. So it seemed a bit rushed. Now let's get into the central bank, because the central bank now sent 2 circulars out, rather notifications to the bank. So this is the first one, which this day exclusively got their hands on. And I tell you, everybody has to read this day article, because it covers the story from top to bottom. Where is Nollywood? When is Nollywood going to start covering these boardroom dramas? They're intense. So that's the first circular. The central bank pointed out that, hey, listen, the appointment that you made there, notice you did not bring us in. As far as the regulations are concerned, the central bank is supposed to be notified. The central bank also mentioned the fact that he's got 8 more months to go. You didn't let us know why all of a sudden he's being removed, and all of a sudden you're just making this announcement. So also, regulatory forbearance is when a central bank provides support to a bank that has issues with depleted capital. So the central bank was also stating that, look, as far as the liquidity support is extended to you, regulatory forbearance, with the assistance, you have to, by law, let us know what's going on. So there could be dire consequences, not only for the bank, but also the financial system. CBN is saying that you can't just have banks just, making sudden announcements like that of management changes at the, at the board level without notifying the regulator. So that was the first circular, rather the first notification from the central bank to First Bank. The second one has to do with, and this gets a little into the weeds here, This one is talking about the audited IFRS accounts for that's International Financial Regulatory Standards, IFRS, accounts for the financial year ended December 31st. Now, they wrote this, of course, to the chair of First Bank, saying that we are concerned that the bank has not complied with regulatory directives to divest its interest in Honeywell flour mills, despite several reminders, which over the last 4 years the bank has been reminding them of. And the thing is, they're saying that, they further noted that after 4 years, the bank is yet to perfect the lien on the shares of Mr. Oba Otudeko at FBN Holdco, with collateralized the restructured credit facilities for Honeywell flour mills, contrary to the conditions, precedent for the restructuring of the company's credit facilities. So those lines are essentially liens that the bank was supposed to have solidified and hasn't done that. The bank essentially said that as a result of not doing that, they are suspending the facility immediately, and payment on the loans which are collateralized by the shares would be due immediately. Now, I think they're giving them, Central Bank gave, in that circular, they gave the bank until 5 p.m. today to comply with that. That is essentially, now think about this. Imagine you've got an existing credit facility and all of a sudden you have to pay it off all at once. I mean, there's billions behind that. If that was to happen, if the central bank follows through with this and they force them to pay, there's going to be a big liquidity hole, and it's going to shift control at the boardroom level between what's going on between Otudeko and Odukale and Adenuga. So it would shift that. So, the key thing here is this. It's incredibly dramatic. The regulator is reminding everybody about the rules and regulations of what's going on. And the key thing here is that there should have been notification to the regulator with respect to why Dr. Adedusan was removed. Now, we've done a lot of investigations. Again, do read that article from this day because it goes very, very much in depth. Now, this is the next stage. They've got a deadline of 5 p.m. today to respond to the central bank and tell them why he was suddenly cut short. His term was cut short because, again, he gets 3 terms. He was lobbying for a 3rd term with the bank, but that was cut short. They have to explain that. And also the key thing there is that lien, the credit lines linked to Honeywell flour mills, if the central bank brings the hammer down and essentially asks them to pay back that money, there's going to be a whole can of worms that's going to be opened up.
It's obvious, but you see the funny thing about all of it is not a good thing, is the fact that there are a lot of levers moving behind. So yeah, this is just very surface stuff. But there are a lot of levers moving behind. I don't want to mention names because I don't like to go into mentioning names.
It's in the article. You can mention names.
But the truth is, there's a big war going on as regards the soul of the bank.
Right.
What they used to call sort of like a hostile takeover.
Correct.
So there's a power play going on between some heavy big wigs, and it might tilt. We all know Oba Otudeko has got loads of shares in First Bank. Other people too have got shares in First Bank. I correct me if I'm wrong. I think Arishekola Laotu used to have some shares in First Bank.
Yeah.
Split across the board. Then Mike Adenuga has got shares in First Bank. But it's about the dominant shareholder. So there's more that's meeting there. As I can bet you for free now, Rotus. A lot of phone calls are going. That 5 p.m. target, you will see, it will either, it will tilt the balance of First Bank, and it will be what will determine the future of First Bank, which they say is one of the oldest banks in this country, 125 years,
bank. Yeah.
And going. But one thing is certain. When the elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. These big people involved will fight. But I just pray it doesn't affect the job of an average person in the First Bank family.
It won't. The thing is, I have to emphasize this. The central bank is saying that you are supposed to notify. This is, even in the press release even said that, look, this is subject to regulatory approval. That's the point. That is the main takeaway here.
I would like to draw attention to a number of issues.
Yes.
Dr. Kazim Adeshola Adenutan, he was re-elected at the FBN AGM on Tuesday. Fact, right?
That is correct.
And then he was sacked by the board yesterday.
Right.
Isn't that bizarre in your view? So that's one. The second point is that, yes, clearly there is a battle for the control of the bank. And the key stakeholders, Oba Otudeko, the Odukales, and also Adenuga, Otumba Mike Adenuga, who we have even been told that because of this fight, he's not even been able to get his own directors into the board of the bank. So the question I want to ask you is this, or one of the questions. we've been told about regulatory forbearance for the past 5-6 years. Now, those of you who monitor the financial sector, what does that mean? What is the implication of that 5-6 years regulatory forbearance? For the dormant account, I have a dormant account in First Bank, which my father opened for me when I was 10 years old. So is that dormant account, is this still safe? Because in none of this, you are talking about big names, you are talking about, boardroom politics. How about the ordinary people who have a stake in that bank? As for the CBN, yes, the CBN is just staying within its province, saying that, look, if anything happens to First Bank, it could have implications for financial stability, for the financial space in Nigeria, and that regulatory approvals have not been followed. But I thought that Mrs. Ibukwa-Woshika yesterday was saying that all the announcements that they made will be subject to regulatory approval. So let us see what the chairman of the bank does by the 5 p.m. deadline that she has been given today. And then there's some money that we're told is being owed by Honeywell to the tune of about 70 billion. So what happens? How would that be resolved? But what is important is a point being made by the CBN about the stability of the financial system and how strategic the First Bank of Nigeria is in that regard. And then don't forget that my dormant account. We have to discuss it. It has to be safe when I call it up.
Yeah, so there's the NDIC, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Commission. Your funds are safe.